going to start out with magnets. Some of these you've probably all seen before, but this is really handy for small parts. I have a round-headed lathe, so it works. I don't have a flat spot, so it's a nice place to put things. I'm sure most of us have magnets hanging around the lathe. Here's another good example. You can just put them anywhere for little things. Most of us the floor is getting farther away, right? So when we drop things, this is really handy to have, you know, and I keep mine right on my lathe. There's a little spot I can keep it, because I drop things. And then if I need to go through chips, I'll put this really big magnet, and then I can, you know, I can go over and go through my chips and get my little parts that I drop, like set screws and whatnots. Okay, pretty handy. So I've got about 42 magnets all over my lathe. I had a friend that had a jumpsuit he wore. I used to work in aerospace, and he had magnets on his jumpsuit. That was a little much. Let's see, where's this one? Another thing that's kind of handy, and you all got to visualize that this is a gouge. We had 3 wood turners here tonight. Nobody brought a gouge. We all thought about it. So if you have a Wolverine or some kind of jig and you like to do a double bevel, you know, where you put a double bevel in, you set your jig up, cut your, well, I'm going to bring this out a little bit. You cut your first bevel, do what you normally do, then you take a magnet and just put it in there, and it'll be a consistent distance from your, where your first setting was, and then you can make your second bevel cut, and it's consistent. It's just a handy thing to use. Magnet stays on there real well. Just another way to use a magnet. Okay?
Magnets and your grinder.
Yeah.
If you put magnets around your grinder like I do to collect the dust, well, cleaning them is going to be a little bit of a problem unless you put them in a Ziploc. And you should put magnets around your grinder or some other way to control the metal dust. That metal dust is not healthy.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's, okay, I got it.
That's, yeah, you just set them around, you know, they sit there, and, you know, it'll, yeah. Put it in the back, you know, depending on your type of grinder you have. If you don't have the guard on, you know.
Especially if you have a CBN wheel from Dave.
Yeah. Okay, but handy little magnet, especially if you like a double bevel. Okay?
So do you have a fine source for that little handle one?
I got this at Harbor Freight.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Harbor Freight, Ace, they all carry them.
Harbor Freight is your friend for disposable tools.
Yeah.
It's also available at some senior citizen centers.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll visit.
He got it. You didn't, but he got it. I use those little grabby things. You know, while we do this, another thing is take magnets. I love rare earth magnets. I mean, you could move the planet if you had enough of those things, right? Put those on each side of your shop vac hose, and trust me, you'll find you're missing that little chuck screw. You know, you'll pick up that missing chuck screw that we all lose.
Now, I've not heard of that one.
Aha!
I did that.
Another use for magnets. Lidded boxes where you want the lid to orient just so. Little magnet, north and south. Clink, the lid's always going to be in the same orientation. Oh, he's got a big one out now.
This is my invention. All right, I'm going to leave it for some minute. This is what I call an automatic jar. Have you seen this?
You're not supposed to remove those from the bank.
And so, what it is by putting the magnet, one magnet there, and one magnet there off center, it aligns the grain. But if I put another wrong-oriented magnet on the other side, I didn't do it on this particular jar, when I turn it, it pushes it open.
Oh, weird. Okay, yeah.
Oh, we got about 5 ahas. All right.
Okay.
You up?
Roman blind shower curtains. Actually need them around your lathe. Sitting there working the wet madrona you got from Dave, and it's going everywhere. So I put 7-foot Roman shades around my lathe. One day I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh wow, I'm shooting shavings over my curtains. That's neat. About 5 minutes later, I went, hold it. They're landing on the bed of the jointer. Wet, acidic wood on the bed of the jointer.
Okay. There is no reason in the world why a wood turner should ever buy popcorn or bubble wrap for the rest of their life. Am I right? All right. And one of the neat things that you can, okay, it's pretty good packaging material. All it is stuff in a Ziploc. This is sort of a sister comment. This bag of sand, I've got 2 tips that relate to sand. One is a sock full of sand or a couple of socks full of sand will do wonders to help. I'm not using the microphone. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
All right. When you're trying to drill a hole or put a faceplate or something on an irregular blank, a natural edge, that's a really good mounting platform. There's a guy named, I forgot his name, a contributor from back east who also has a great tip. He says when you're doing a glue block, I don't think we have a glue block.
I have a glue block.
When you're doing a glue block, one of the problems you have is that these doggone things want to slip around, right? When you're gluing everything up. He puts a bit of sand in the glue, and it doesn't slip when he clamps it. That's a good tip, right? Who's next?
I'll take something. Packing material.
I need to use this.
Those wood chips are softer than the finish you put on your wood. The styrofoam beads and the bubble wrap isn't. If you ship something with a high gloss finish cross country, it may not have that high gloss finish when it gets to the destination. If you pack styrofoam beads or bubble wrap directly against your item.
Yep, I'm ready. I got a little bit of a setup here, just for a minute. I done a lot of deep turning in my day. So
Deep turning?
deep, D-E-P, D-E-E-P?
DEP.
D-double-E. And so, I'm trained, I'm a manufacturing engineer, and so process is really important to me, and repetitive processes are really important. So whenever I start to make something, I have a lot of fun trying to figure out how can I do this again, repetitively. So what I did, let's see if I can set this up. So, because I was turning typically 10 inches deep, I wanted a half-inch thick bottom, you know, a half-inch wall, and this was when I did my rough turning. So what whoops, I got too big of, that's a number 2. Okay, visualize this is in the chuck. Okay, that'll work. Okay, there we go. That's number 3. Okay, so I need this here, Ralph, real quick. So what I did is whenever I always use the same chuck, just take a piece of 1/2-inch plywood or 3/8 plywood, depending on how thick you want your bottom. Okay, so, you know, I always used a spigot, so that was there. And then I would put this here. I would extend this out as far as it would go, or maybe to 3 inches. Let me do this here, I should have had it out. Something consistent. This one looks like it'll go to 3 inches. Yeah, right there. So I set that at 3. Now I push this up here. And so now, in theory, I had the tip on here, and I could, you know, crush it and put the tip down a little bit. The whole Ralph's piece of paper. So now, I either cut a board and put a board between here, so I'm always at the same distance. I could put a black line, felt line back here, or a piece of tape, I could put a piece of tape, okay? And then I know that when this is in this position, board works real well because you don't have to think, okay? And I always know that when I drill 3 inches with this bit always the same depth, then when I drill that hole and I turn to the bottom, you know, because when I'm doing a 10-inch piece, it's pretty deep, then I know I got a 1/2 inch bottom. And again, I don't have to think about it, and it's repetitive. All right? Does that make sense? Yes?
Hey, what about clearing the banjo? I mean, I can see it probably mostly work, but, you know, just
Clearing the banjo,
with
just,
a piece of wood. Well, but the piece of wood's going between the headstock and the tailstock.
oh, yeah. Good point. I put this up against here and put my piece of wood here.
Makes sense, okay.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that, because I used a coring tool, and that's how I always set my depth for coring, but, yeah, this is gonna be here, so you gotta cut your piece of wood from here. Actually, I did a lot of this. I did like 400 turns. I just scribe it right on my lathe, I'm that kind of guy. You know, I just,
Brad, I'm gonna add this,
oh, I was gonna do that.
or then do it.
Okay, so, well, let me do one more thing before I do that. So now, the other thing that I like to do when I am not as precise, or especially when I'm doing a natural edge bowl, if you visualize the bowls here, let me get this in here a ways. And actually, Russell doesn't like it when I drop names, but, where'd my thing go?
That thing?
That thing. I went to Dave Ellsworth's shop for a 3-day seminar. And where's the tape? I have the tape measure. Where'd it go? Here.
Right there.
So if you have a natural edge bowl, sometimes it's really hard to measure how deep you've gone. So you just have that natural edge bowl going there. Unless I play that this is natural edge, I can put this here, and then I can measure to the outside, and I can see how far I've gone. Maybe it's out here. And then I can come up higher, because my bowl's way up here. I can visualize much easier how deep I am. And it's just a handy little rig. I had to sacrifice a carpenter square, but, you know, so be it. I probably made this 20 years ago, and it's still serving the purpose.
Harbor Freight.
Yep, another approach. It's not quite as tall.
But all you have to do is put a mark right there, and then compare that mark, because that mark is always going to be
Right there.
right at your jaws.
Okay, the thing where Russell was going was if you're turning and you're getting close to the bottom, let's say what I'll do is I'll leave myself, and I'll turn all this away. So I've left myself a little dimple in the middle, and then I know how far I've gone. So I'll go dimple by dimple by dimple, just a way to help gauge how far I've gone. And then you cut that one off, and you come back, and like I said, you put another dimple in, and you come here. That's what you've been talking about, right, Russell?
Yep.
And that's just another way to help you gauge how close you're getting to the bottom. And then sometimes you make a funnel, right? Okay.
Make the funnel a feature. I blew through the bottom of a gorgeous bowl, so I built a pedestal for it.
Okay, so this tip is really intuitive, but I bet you I get an aha on this. You've got a bowl, like this is a piece of scrap wood, we're going to use this for other demonstrations. It's turn on a faceplate, you turn the outside of it, you're ready to turn it around and mount it in jaws. How many people take it off, remove the faceplate, put the jaws up, right? Right? The way to do this is square it up with that. Now you tighten it. Are you with me? Does this make sense? Do you do it?
No, but I heard aha back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's so intuitive. So now you're sure if we turn this lathe on, you'll see that it's going to be running true. Now we back this off. I would have tightened that, and I would have used a bigger cone. Take this off, turn it around. I test run it once with this cone lined up in the faceplate, and then remove the faceplate. And it's never going to be perfect, because there's no such thing in wood turning, but it'll be a whole lot closer to perfect this way.
A variation on that, the standard Powermatic one-way with the 3/4 10, there's an adapter for this to go into that. Ah, the adapter!
See, we don't really know what we're doing up here. We're just sort
We
of...
just kind of make it up as we go along, because, well, now with this, I can then take the chuck
With a bowl in it.
with the bowl in it. It's all lined up.
That's a one-way, so
It's not all going to fit, but
yeah.
we're all lined up. And now, I can also take this assembly, when I'm turning it around to vacuum chuck it, to hold it perfectly square and get it all lined up, and then I can take this all off and take the tenon off.
You guys got that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are we putting you to sleep? All right,
All right, now we can't get this off.
who's up?
I'm going.
You go.
All right, so another thing, you know, our standard thread size here on these one-ways. So I just went and bought a matching tap, okay? And then I made a little drill to bore a hole in another piece of wood. I tapped it, and then I put this in my headstock, and then I could put that piece of wood on there and turn any shape I wanted to put on here. So if I've got some kind of special piece I'm making, and I need a concave, maybe I'm doing a wall, and I need a concave
Live center.
glide center here, I can use these to tap the piece of wood, put this in the headstock, screw the piece of wood on here, and then I can turn the shape I want. Maybe I want to make a real thin cone, because I've got a really small piece. I want to do a cup. Who knows what I want to do? But the point is, it's handy to have the tap and the bowl, and this is just the drill size for the tap. I just keep it all in a little drawer. If I ever need it, it's there, and if I can find the drawer, I'm in good shape.
Another way to get to the same point, Fastenal sells 3/4 by 10 nuts. Countersink the nut in, glue it in. Now you can have wooden live centers. And of course, there's commercial live centers that attach to this too that do various things. And there's 2 companies, including Ruth Nile, who sells alternate inserts for this, where you can knock these little pins out and put in long pins, short pins, flat pins.
They come in a set.
They come in a set.
Good job.
Good job.
Go ahead, I gotta think.
All right.
I do a lot of,
There's no smell.
how many guys sell their stuff? I mean, seriously try to sell their stuff? Well, I do too. And my experience though is that, at least up in Kitsap County, you guys are the rich people, the Gig Harbor people are the rich people. In my neighborhood, we're the ghetto guys, you know. Anyway, that they'll come and they'll look at a $400 hollow form and they'll go, wow, that's really great. What do you have for $40? So I always have to come up with something for $40. So I make a lot of little jars. I'll pass this around in a second. Make a lot of little jars, and the challenge is, how do you elevate them? How do you elevate just an ordinary jar into something a little more special? And there's all sorts of things that you can use. One is buttons, earrings. Matter of fact, one of the interesting things that I have done many, many times is
Don't talk about the women.
I don't even think I remember what to do with a woman.
Dinner.
I'm in good shape for
That
83.
can rail them.
I'm in good shape for 83. You guys have got it.
Unfortunately, he's only 62.
Yeah, that's right. Don't. Hey, that was pretty good. We didn't rehearse that either, did we? So one of the things that well, earrings. Women will lose one earring. What do they do with the other earring?
they'll bring it to me and I'll put it on the top of the jar. Another interesting thing, in both this thing and the big automatic jar, they've got coins on the top. And that is a great way to make a commemorative gift for somebody, a grandchild, a wedding gift or something. You put the date of the coin, commemorates a date that you're trying to, to honor. And this happens to be an 1899 Morgan half dollar, which is probably worth about $50. But we'll pass it around. And we'll see it there.
It was.
One of the great stories about that is I'll go down to Goodwill, and the older we get, the larger we all get, right? You go to the small ladies sweater section, okay? And you find sweaters with really ornamental buttons on them. And I've been known to go in, buy a sweater, cut off the buttons. They're a great little button, antique, right, really old. Put them on some jars, cut the buttons off in the parking lot, go around to the back, donate the sweater again, and come back 2 weeks later and find new buttons.
And get that
You cut them off again?
Okay, should I do something?
Yes, that's it for that one.
Okay, sometimes when I do a natural edge bowl, mounting it can be a little tricky. And so I've got myself a nice big forstner bit that's a little bit bigger than a faceplate. So I can take my log and put it on the drill press, and then I can put this guy on there, and I just cut a little hole, got a nice flat surface, I kind of position it where I want it. This also fits a screw chuck I have for smaller pieces. But it's just a handy way to get a flat spot. You're going to cut it out anyway. It's just a handy way to attach a faceplate on a flat surface. Works real well.
Drill press. Ever wanted to hold something small and round on your drill press and drill through it? Harbor Freight again in a drill. It'll still mark, perhaps, but you can get a really good grip with one of these just drilled out in all the sizes you need.
That's a good idea.
I've never shown that one, Ralph.
No, this is the first time I showed that one.
You're turning your tendons. We've got a couple samples, but I bought a set of those really big aluminum ones. And this is just handy for the tendon size. I'm cutting it, put it on my jaws. Ralph's got a couple others there, different samples. Just handy way.
I have lots of jaws.
Yeah.
It's a jaw gauge, inside and outside. Sometime next spring, I'm going to do a workshop called Everything You Always Wanted About Cyanoacrylate But Were Afraid to Ask, with a mixture of beal polishing too. I happen to think there's an awful lot that you can do with CA that a lot of people haven't thought about. And I won't get into all those details, of course, now. But first of all, those tricky bastards down at the, what brand is this? 2P10, the Fast Cat company. They make these things so that they're designed to fall over.
They're not magnetized.
So that you spill them, and you have to buy more. So this is a spin-off. Put magnets. Is that an aha? Come on. That's a pretty good idea. And just you put 2 little magnets in there, and you can stick it anywhere in your lathe. It won't spill. And when you get down to the bottom, these things come short about a ½ inch of fluid. So when you get done, you take the cap off, you pour the remaining ½ inch of fluid with the magnets into the next jar. Ralph always comes in with a comment about this, and I think that he's got a valid point. I put CA on with Q-tips, and the trick with that is you got to move fast. I can't get this open. I don't need to do it. You got to move fast. You got to hit it with the CA and move real fast, just like this. I use Q-tips. Ralph says, well, you're going to end up with cotton. If you use those little makeup removal round things, that will stick to the CA. But Q-tips do not. These things work. And by the way,
3 packages of this cost me $7 at Costco. I now own
2 lifetime supplies.
8 billion.
175 Q-tips, and I go through 40 a week, because I use a lot of CA. I use CA as an undercoat, I use it as a wood stabilizer, I use it as a finish, I use it as an undercoat under lacquer. We'll talk about that later. The other thing I would recommend is, one, I went away from the pump spray. Sorry, glue and sandpaper sales guy. I went away from the pump spray. I went to this stuff. This can will last me a year, and I use a lot of this because it's very specific. You know, you're not spraying it all over the place. It's aerosol. Just in so many ways, it's better. The other thing I really recommend when it comes to CA are these little teeny tiny tips that they sell over at Craft Supply. It really, really helps get accurate. But if you don't use that, I don't think I'm going to be able to find this other thing easily. You go down to the, here you go, go down to the local espresso stand. I'm trying to do too many things with a handheld. And you get these little, teeny tiny straws, right? And these, I wouldn't suggest sucking on this.
No.
But you could with thick. You could with thick. The point is, draw a little up in here, and sometimes you've got to go down into a hollow form, down at the bottom of something. This is, and the coffee store won't know that they're gone, right? Okay, who's up?
Right now.
I got something.
Question,